Hello, I'm Chef Patrick Fletcher, and this is Cooking at the College. Today's episode is all about marinades, and will feature recipes including smoked jerk chicken wings, balsamic marinated vegetable skewers, Dijon rosemary pork tenderloin, and finally, grilled bananas Foster. Welcome to Cooking at the College. Welcome back. Marinades are not only a great way to add flavor, but to also tenderize products, especially proteins. So let's get right to it. Our first item is our smoked jerk chicken wings. Now I've set up a stovetop smoker over here. And what we've done is I've got my pan on top of the heat. And then in the bottom of the pan, we've added some hickory chips, which have soaked in water for 30 to 45 minutes. They've begun to smoke, which is wonderful for us. On top of that, I'm going to add my perforated pan. And then we'll just go ahead and put the raw chicken wings and let them begin their magic. Now for smaller cuts of meat like this, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to impart that smoky flavor. So we'll leave these in here for about 5 minutes. We'll cover it with some aluminum foil. All right, in the meantime, we can go ahead and start our jerk seasoning and our marinade. Now, jerk seasoning originates from the Caribbean island of Jamaica. So, I've went ahead and made up the seasoning. I've got 4 tablespoons of allspice, 4 of dried thyme, 3 of black pepper, 1 of nutmeg, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and 1 of salt. And that will make about a cup's worth. We're only going to use about half a cup. So we'll go ahead and get half of that into our food processor. Very, very bold flavors. We're going to add about 1/4 of an onion. And it doesn't matter how pretty you cut these because they're just going to get chopped up. I've got a couple cloves of garlic. I've got about half a bunch of green onions. This is about 1.5 tablespoons of brown sugar. Even everything out because there's going to be some heat in there. Now, typically, you would add an habanero pepper or a Scotch bonnet. When I'm entertaining, I've got to keep the heat down a little bit. So I've got 1 jalapeno, 1 serrano, which is nice, mild flavors. Then we've got about 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and juice from 3 limes. And that's the acidic part of this marinade, and that's usually what tenderizes the meat. I'm going to go ahead and get that spinning. And then we're slowly going to add in our vegetable oil. Nice steady stream. And you know, we're looking for it to be a little runny. It's going to be, you know, slightly thick, but that's going to coat the chicken nicely. Just after the break, we'll continue marinating. Welcome back to Cooking at the College. Now earlier we had our wings smoking and they have finished up. We made our Jamaican jerk marinade. So we're just going to add those. And typically you'd want to let these marinate for about 4 to 6 hours. Pick up some real nice flavors. We'll just kind of move those around. Get them nicely coated. So a lot of savory spices, a little bit of heat. There was some brown sugar also. Lots of big and bold flavors. All right, we'll put that in our refrigerator. Next, we've got our Dijon rosemary pork tenderloin. Now, I love pork tenderloin. It's very flavorful, tender, not that expensive, and it can take on a lot of flavors. So what we're going to do today is I've got some fresh rosemary. Just taking it right off the stem, and we're going to chop that up. You know, try to get it into smaller pieces so you don't bite into some of the pork and Just get a huge rosemary bite. All right, in our rosemary, we're going to add to about a cup of Dijon mustard. Really nice flavors with pork. And that's it for our marinade on the pork. Now with the tenderloin, one of the first things you want to do is remove the silver skin. If you do not do this, it'll eat like a rubber band, and I'm pretty sure you don't want that. So grab a fillet or bony knife, slide it right under, and it just starts to peel right off. You can always tell the silver skin, it's very shiny. So we'll just go down the line there. Careful not to remove too much of the meat. And a little bit more here. A pretty quick process. Now, when we're at this point, the rest of this is fat, and that's fine. That'll just add some flavor. We're going to go ahead and cut it into medallions. And just try to keep it about the same size so they cook in the same amount of time. Once we've got our medallions, we're going to set a couple up on the cutting board here. Take a little bit of plastic wrap and just go right over the top. Then you'll take your mallet on the smooth side and just go left to right. Careful not to tear it. Very simple process. Tenderloin is nice and tender. And we've got these lovely pork cutlets. We'll take those, we'll go ahead and place those in the marinade. And this is another one that, 4 to 6 hours is plenty of time. And that'll have a real nice flavor. Finally, we're going to accompany that with a little bit of a fruit salsa. So for our fruit salsa, we're going to take some fresh mango that we've just chopped up here. This is about 1/4 of a red onion, a small dice also. I've got 1 jalapeno. I've got 1/4 of a red bell pepper. And just try to cut these as small as you can for presentation purposes. This is about 1 tablespoon of cilantro and juice from an entire lime. Fruit's another one of these that pairs just beautifully with pork. Nice and fresh. Excellent. Great, vibrant colors. And we'll take a short break and continue marinating. Welcome back to the marinade episode. Next, we're going to continue on with our side, which is our Balsamic Marinated Vegetable Skewers. Now what we've done is we're going to take a little bit of the fresh rosemary. We used that a little bit earlier in the pork marinade. We just separated the leaves. Well, once you separate the leaves, you're left with the stem, which can act as our skewer. Great with vegetables, also shrimp. And we soak those just like you would any other skewers. And we've got a nice variety of all the fresh vegetables right now. We have fresh zucchini, button mushrooms, yellow squash, and then an assortment of red and green bell peppers. The important thing is to try and cut them all about the same size so they will cook more evenly. And it's up to you on, how do you like to follow each vegetable. Keep color in mind, separate colors so you get a more attractive skewer. We'll go ahead and go with one more squash and then a green bell pepper. Let's do that one more time here. And start from that bottom end, the end that's towards the ground. It's much stronger, a lot easier to thread. Very nice. Finish up with one of our green bell peppers again. And we've got our skewers. Now what I'd like to make next is a little bit of a balsamic vinaigrette, and that's going to act as the marinade for the skewers. So with the balsamic vinaigrette, we're going to start with about a cup of balsamic vinegar. I'm going to add to that a tablespoon of dried basil, a dash of white pepper. I've got one whole shallot, nice mild flavor. I've got a clove of garlic. This is about 2 tablespoons of Dijon. This is about 3 tablespoons of sugar. And just depending on how sweet you like it, you can substitute less. Now we're going to go ahead and get that spinning. And as that spins, we'll slowly drizzle in our olive oil. Now vinaigrettes are usually about a 3-to-1 ratio, so we're looking at about 3 cups of the oil since we had 1 of the vinegar. We'll start to hear a little bit of a sound. It's emulsifying, thickening up for us. And that loud sound means it's about ready. All right. And what we'll do next is just top our skewers with that. Nice and thick. And you can also save a little bit and, brush it, top it on at the end when they come off of the grill also. We'll take another short break, and when we come back, we'll start to put all this together. Welcome back to Cooking at the College. Now that everything has been marinating, it's time to go ahead and start getting everything cooking. We've got our smoked jerk chicken wings. They set in our stovetop smoker for about 5 minutes over the hickory chips. Completely fine if you've got a smoker at home and would like to do this outdoors, that would work also. Then we made our jerk seasoning and then formed a marinade out of that with vegetable oil, garlic, onion, chiles. So a little bit of smokiness. And we're also going to get that flavor off of the grill. Just something a little different than frying wings. Everywhere you go, somebody has a fried wing on the menu. So this is a little bit of a change. You're going to get some great flavors. It's going to eat a little lighter. And a lot of times what I like to do with my proteins, we'll get a little bit of a grill mark going here, and then we'll finish in the oven. I think I've mentioned time and time before, if you want to try and finish everything on the grill, a lot of times it gets burnt. So we're just looking for our grill marks. We've got a nice medium-high heat here. Let's go ahead and give those a little bit of a turn. There we go, there's some nice color. And there's so many different flavors you can add to wings, even after the smoke. A lot of times I'll put them in the smoke, just like we did earlier, and give it a little bit of an Asian twist with some sriracha, some hot chili sauce, some honey, vinegar. Also works nicely. And you'll be amazed at what the marinade does. All right, we're going to go ahead and, now that we've got our color, I've got my oven set to about 450, and you're probably looking for about 12 to 15 minutes to be safe. Chicken's one of those that you just don't mess around with. All right. It's important to clean your grill off each time. Nice smooth cooking surface. Next up was that marinated Dijon rosemary pork tenderloin. We took the tenderloin, cleaned it up, took off all the silver skin, cut it into medallions, and then it went into a blend of Dijon, about a cup's worth, and about a tablespoon of the chopped fresh rosemary. And this is about a 2.5 pound pork tenderloin. Cut into medallions. You're probably going to end up serving about 3 people. And we're just going to leave all that Dijon on there. That's going to give it some great flavor. And because we cut them into the medallions and then pounded them out into the cutlets, this is one that will actually cook pretty fast. And if you notice when I'm grilling, I tend to treat the grill as a clock. If you were looking at a clock, you're looking at about 10 here and then 5 o'clock. Once you do this and it's time to turn, we'll go to 12 and 6, and it'll help to get that diamond, the diamonds on the meat. I'm going to go ahead and go to that 12 to 6. As you can see, this one gets a little bit messy, but you're going to be very happy with the flavors. And we're doing a fruit salsa with this one today, a fresh mango salsa. It also works very well with chutneys, coulis. If you're not familiar with those, chutneys are some type of fruit, spices, a little bit of vinegar, real nice flavors coming out of India. A coulis is just a fruit puree. Coulis, fruit puree. It's a little tricky. All right. And just like I told you on the 10 to 2 and then the 12 to 6, you can see where we're getting those diamonds. That was probably just a couple minutes. We'll go ahead and flip it and give it a couple more. There's a great smell coming off of that mustard, that fresh rosemary. Since we started at 12 and 6, we'll go to the opposite of 10 and 2 there. We'll go to 2 and 7. Or 10 and 5, excuse me. All right. And move these over to our pan. They're going to go in the oven also. And as thin as our cutlets are, we're looking at probably 8 to 10 minutes, whereas the chicken's 10 to 15. We're looking at about 8 to 10 on these. They're going to cook a lot quicker. And pork's one that you can actually, cook medium well. We'll place these in our oven. It's the same 450 degrees. Now what we'll do next is, we've got some of the green onion. It went into the jerk marinade. Just a great flavor. I'm going to give that a little bit of olive oil. A little bit of salt. And a little bit of our cracked pepper. And we're going to take that and the skewers over to our grill. And these will go pretty quickly. Vegetables have been marinating in that balsamic vinaigrette. There is a lot of sugar and oil, so this one you're going to have to keep an eye on. Some of that initial will kind of fall off, and get some nice little char there. And see how we kept all our cuts even? This is really going to help with the proper cooking. And feel free to use whatever you want. If you don't like mushrooms, fine. We didn't throw any onion today, but you're welcome to throw in onion, Vidalia, red onion. The important part is just to get a lot of color there for visual. And for flavors. Now we're going to add our green onions. These are going to be very quick, probably about 30 seconds. Go ahead and give those a flip. Just looking for a little bit of char. They're just going to start to wilt. Grilled food is just a great time to get outdoors, get with friends and family. And nowadays you can just about grill everything. All right, we're looking good there. Gonna finish up our skewers. Oh, we've got one trying to get away from us here. All right, so the grilled scallions are going to be our base for our chicken wings. And should also taste quite nice. And we've got our vegetable skewers. Grilled on our rosemary stems. We'll go over to the oven. And we'll plate these up. They're just giving off huge aromas. All right. And our pork. We'll plate right next up to our skewers. top that with a little bit of the mango salsa. And when we return, we'll finish up with our grilled bananas Foster. Welcome back. Finally, we've made it to the dessert course. And for today, we're doing grilled bananas Foster. We're going to go ahead and slice our banana open. I'm going to cut it in half, and then we'll separate it in half again, so we have those nice flat surfaces to go on the grill. And because it's the marinade episode, we're going to give it a quick one. A little bit of butter, or a lot, whichever you prefer. And then I'm going to sprinkle that with a little bit of brown sugar. All right, and we'll let that sit for just a minute, and we'll start our banana Foster sauce. I'm starting with a couple tablespoons of butter. So essentially this is a flambé. You have cherries Jubilee, crepe Suzette, bananas Foster. They're all going to start the same. Melt down a little bit of butter. Add to that some sugar. And we'll start to make a little bit of a sauce here. That looks nice. I'm going to add to that some banana liqueur. If we were doing the cherries Jubilee, we would have added the cherry liqueur. Add a little bit of rum. Spiced rum works very nice, has all those extra spices and flavors. And finally, a little bit of our 151. All right, we'll ignite that for our flambé. Oh, that's wonderful. We'll go ahead and put our bananas on the grill. Be careful with all that brown sugar that they don't get too much color. All right. We'll go ahead and plate these. Nice caramelization with all our sugars. And we'll top that with a little bit of our rum sauce. We hope you enjoyed the marinade episode. Join us next time and see what's cooking at the college.